The search continues for 6 construction workers who are missing after a catastrophic bridge collapse in Baltimore early this morning. They are presumed dead. This video shows the moment a massive container ship lost power and crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
The 6 people still missing are believed to be part of a construction crew repairing potholes on the bridge when the crash happened. 2 people were rescued this morning. One of them was taken to a local trauma center in very serious condition.
The bridge carries I-695 between Baltimore and Dundalk, Maryland. If you traveled north of I-95, you know this bridge. You probably recognize it, been over it a number of times. It's an alternate route for people who don't want to take the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel. This evening, we're learning more about what happened just after the crash. Jay Gray has more on the calls that came in from Baltimore.
An intense rescue and recovery effort continues in the bitter cold waters of the Patapsco River right now. Teams searching for survivors after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge overnight.
The bridge is gone. Holy.
Here's what we know at this point. The crew on board this massive container ship apparently lost control of the vessel minutes after leaving the port of Baltimore, issuing a mayday call, warning they'd lost power and propulsion. Security video shows lights blinking and smoke climbing from the ship just before crashing into a center support column on the bridge, the iconic structure crumbling.
As units were responding, they began to receive numerous calls indicating multiple people in the water.
A crew doing routine maintenance, filling potholes, and several vehicles were on the bridge as it collapsed. 2 of the workers quickly pulled to safety, but authorities acknowledge several people are still missing.
Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime.
President Biden promising the full support and resources of the federal government in the wake of the tragedy. Jay Gray, NBC News, Baltimore.
It's hard to believe that happened. To give you some perspective on the size of the ship, it's 984 feet. That's roughly equal to the size of the Empire State Building lying on its side. It weighs 95,000 gross tons.
After today's crash, ships were backed up in the Baltimore port, very busy port. WRAL reached out to the North Carolina Port Authority, which said it is making preparations to help with the larger supply chain network. He also addressed the possibility that something like that could happen here. Executive Director Brian Clark said, in part, it's important to note that commercial vessels do not need to navigate under bridges to access either of our deep water ports. We, along with our federal and state agency partners, are committed to continually evaluating the safe movement of goods and vessels in and out of our facilities.
Our coverage on the bridge collapse in Baltimore will continue at 5:30. WRAL's Brett Neese goes inside the construction facilities lab at NC State. He talks with engineers about the factors that go into designing safe bridges and what they could possibly learn from today's tragedy.
Well, after President Biden addressed the nation on the bridge collapse, he flew here